Okay, in this video we're going to be installing the front sway bars. Both instructions, the TRD and the EIBACH, set to either remove just one wheel or none, but I just removed two for an ease of access to the sway bar. And there it is. It's kind of like the end link of the sway bar, and that's where we're going to start. We're going to be removing these links that connect to the coilovers. So the first thing is to undo the sway bar from this stabilizer link. However, because my car is lowered, it brings up the sway bar because it connects to the coilover. And now I can't access that bolt with a socket because it's right in the way of this chassis part. So I'll either need a massive wrench, but I want to use an impact gun. So in this case, what I'm going to do is actually undo this bolt on both sides and lower the sway bar down. I mean, you don't have to do this. Yours might already be low enough, or you can just use a wrench, and it's a 17mm wrench. So I removed that bolt over there. So now what I can do is lower this end link, and this lowers the sway bar. So now I have easier access to the bolt. So to take off that lower joint, gotta use a 6mm Allen wrench and a 17mm wrench. So I was lucky to find a socket that has an Allen wrench at the end of it. So the two very useful tools in this would be a ratcheting wrench. So I have right here 17. And then a socket with an Allen wrench.
Got some badass vice grips.
And what do you want to do? You want to rotate the nut. Okay, and the stabilizer link is off. So we just removed the end link. So now we're just look more under the car, and there's this plastic cover right here. It's held in place with just 5 clips. So there's 3 in the front and 2 in the back. It's a real pain removing these clips. I mean, there's only 2 clips that are this intense. The other ones are normal. So I just removed the 3 clips, 2 of which were impossible, so pretty much broke those. I don't know who freaking makes clips like this that are just impossible to remove. But yeah, there's still 2 more clips left to remove. That's where the sway bar is. So after we remove that annoying plastic cover, you see, like, because it covers the sway bar. So to the right and to the left of that cover are the metal brackets that hold the bushings of the sway bar. And these are 17mm bolts, and there's 4 of them on each bracket. So remove those. Alright, so I'm using a 24-inch breaker bar, and it's extremely easy removing this kind of stuff when you have so much leverage. The sway bar is like moving freely now. So now that bracket is removed on one side. So there's the bracket that holds the bushing or the sway bar on the other side of the car. So I'm gonna remove that. And there's 4 bolts. Okay, so that's it. Nothing else is holding the sway bar. Now we just have to get it out of here. So after we took off the brackets that held in place the bushings, or the sway bar by the bushings, we need to pretty much loosen up a lot of bolts in the control arm so we can just kind of pull it out of the way. And this will depend on the type of car you have, if you have a manual or automatic. If you have automatic, you have to do all this on the passenger side. If you have a manual, then you do it on the driver's side, but it's identical procedure. So I have auto, so I'm working on the passenger side. So here you see the rotor, and here's the rear control arm nut. There it is. So we need to loosen that up, but we're going to be loosening it from the bottom. So there's the bolt. It's a 22 millimeter, and yeah, so we're just going to be loosening it up. Alright. And we can see it rotate. And now it started rotating. I'll just get it to the point where I mean, this is where I'll stop. So it has a full engagement of thread. So I probably did like I don't know, a 1/4 inch roughly wiggle room. So I loosened that up. Alright, so we just loosened up the rear control arm connection to the chassis. The next thing what we want to do is remove the 2 bolts in the nut right there that connect the control arm to the bolt joint. So it's this whole assembly, the hub and the rotor assembly. There they are. Okay, so we just remove the bolt and the 2 nuts that hold the control arm to the bolt joint. And now there's one more connection. It's right there. It's another connection to the chassis. So we have to remove that bolt. It's a 22 millimeter bolt. So as I said, we gotta remove the bolt, the last bolt that holds control arm to the chassis. It's 22 millimeter, and there it is. So after trying to take out this bolt, you'll find out that you actually can't get it out because there's the oil pan in the way. So if you have a manual, you'd be doing this on a passing on the driver's side and you'd be all set. So you just perform what I did to the control arm, get this bolt out, and then pull the arm down and you get the sway bar out and you're all set. However, on an automatic, it looks like we have to remove some more bolts to lower the subframe. So what we're gonna have to do is now use a jack, prop some of this stuff on the jack, and then remove some of the bolts and carefully lower it so this can come down and we can actually remove the bolt. So if you have an automatic, this is a huge pain and a bit more complicated.